to be a different kind of meeting. Because I don't normally do this. So, Shelley?
All right, so we have Rogers is absent and O'Connell is absent, all else are present.
Thank you. And Pat?
Okay, I think we're all happy to know that board members can now volunteer as school bus drivers. That was passed into law. So if anybody got any extra time, we need school bus drivers, you can now do that. I don't know what the difference was between school bus drivers and anything else, because I volunteered all the time. But I don't know what the differentiation was, but there must have been something. There is a task force, bipartisan task force put together to look at issues that are facing kids in Wisconsin, truancy, through 12 education, child obesity, artificial intelligence, and human trafficking. So they're looking at that, and they're gonna be going around the state and getting some input from people. Let's see, there is a couple of bills that could impact schools. One is increases the penalties for school bus, for driver, or for people that don't stop for a school bus red light. The other one is regarding sexual misconduct against kids. It makes the laws more stringent. Under the current law, a person's license may be reinstated after 6 years for certain offenses. This bill would add certain crimes that automatic revocation and adds a lifetime bar on reinstatement for certain crimes. And then under this bill, a person's license may not be reinstated if the person is convicted of a crime against a child that has a Class H felony or higher. I don't know too much about the felonies, you probably know a little bit more about that.
I is the lowest, so H would be the second lowest. It starts at A, it goes up to I. So H is the second lowest.
Okay, so it just goes backwards.
Correct.
Okay. The deal, I think I mentioned last time, the Office of School Safety was having trouble getting funding for this year, and they have procured some funds. It's from the American Rescue Plan. The DOJ kind of reallocated those funds, so they are up and running for at least this year. And then, I remember if we were talking about this before, but under the current law now, when a school district goes to a referendum, like an operating referendum, and it fails, you are locked into that revenue limit ceiling that applied when the referendum was held. So like this extra $325 that everybody's getting, if they had a referendum, say 2 years ago or a year ago that didn't pass, they would not get that money. So there is a bill draft now that would just reverse that, because they don't think that's really fair to schools that, just because they had the failed referendum, now they're not gonna get those extra funds. So I would hopefully that would pass. There's two senators, both Republicans actually, that are putting this bill forward. So we're putting this draft forward, so let's hope that goes ahead. That's it.
Oh, thank you. Any questions or comments? Pat? Okay, we don't have a board CSER report. We don't have a student. Are there any misconceptions and rumors? Okay. And no one has signed in to speak. This is going to be short. Board president announcements. I said that she's in the hospital, so hopefully nothing serious. We have a new board member, that's Chrissy O'Connell. She'll probably be sitting right here, so speak to Chrissy. At that point, Chrissy is going to be the CSER representative, as appointed by Barb, and she'll give a report of the September meeting for 2 of the meetings that she's been at. Barb asked that we not do the committee assignments until September. So you'll find out what you're gonna be doing.
I don't understand, committee assignments, we doing them?
Well, you've got Chrissy and you've got, so I don't know, she just said.
Oh, Okay, I guess we'll have to
I'll
wait
do
and find
that-
out.
Right, I'll do
Okay.
that in September. Or Barry told me she was saying.
Oh, okay, okay.
All right, superintendent,
Yes, good evening, everyone. We are going to start with a presentation from School Perceptions. Darren Sievers is with us, joining us virtually. He could not make it up in time with some meetings, and so next best choice is to do virtual. And so, Darren, can you hear us okay?
I can hear you very well, thank you.
All right, and we can hear you as well. So Darren's going to share his screen. You have the presentation ahead of time in your board packet of the community survey overview, and I will turn it over to Darren.
Okay, thank you, and good evening, everyone. Again, my name is Darren Sievers, and I'm with School Perceptions. If you do decide to move forward with hiring School Perceptions to do your community survey process, you'll be hiring this team. On the far left, as you look at the slide, that's our president and founder, Bill Foster. He started this company up 21 years ago. Carrie is our assistant. She helps with a lot of gathering of addresses and email databases and all the things it takes to get our survey in the hands of your taxpayers once the survey is written. And I'll be the project manager. I've only been with the company for 14 months. Prior to that, I worked for the Slinger School District for 27 years, originally as a counselor, then an elementary principal, high school principal, and then the last 9 years as superintendent. In Slinger, we use School Perceptions for a variety of our survey needs, and due to some family circumstances, I needed a job that was more mobile so I could attend to my mother back in Minnesota, and I was offered a job by Bill where I'm a traveling project manager for the company, and that allows me to be a little bit more present for my family as my mother ages. And so I'm going to tell you a little bit about our company.
Hey, Darren, can you just hold on 1 second? We lost connection with you.
Okay.
Right?
All right, Darren, we are back. Sorry about that.
No problem at all. So as I was saying, I very much believe in the School Perceptions process because I purchased their services as a superintendent, and now I'm excited to be on the other side of the table helping superintendents and school boards with their planning. Our whole mission is to be an independent, Wisconsin-based education research firm. We've conducted over 10,000 staff, student, and parent surveys in our company's history, and we've helped over 900 districts in all 50 states with their strategic planning and their referendum planning, largely around their facility needs and their rebuilding of their schools or remodeling of their schools as they age. And again, we've been doing this for over 20 years. So the big question that school boards often ask is, why would I survey? Well, the survey does a number of things. It helps you educate your community about the needs of the district. It helps you as a school board gather data to understand what the community members' priorities are financially and educationally. And we help you establish a tax tolerance associated with the potential costs. Whatever you're thinking about doing, we'll get those tax numbers back out to the community and get a reaction so you know what kind of support you have. So then you can decide if or when a referendum should take place. And along the way, as long as we're talking to your community, we will gather overall satisfaction metrics. We'll ask them a variety of questions, how they're feeling about how things are going with your school district. Because the bottom line is people are more likely to support a plan if they understand the plan and they have a voice in creating the plan. And that whole idea of having a voice transitions very nicely to our next slide. There are other survey companies out there, but the others that do this process do a random sample. They do not ask every taxpayer how they feel about what is going on. They'll do phone random sampling or mail random sampling. Our approach is 100% inclusive. Every property owner and resident of your school district will get a copy of our survey, and everyone who answers the survey, their results will be counted by us and compiled for you as a school board. We allow every taxpayer to have a voice in reacting to what you're thinking about doing. So who takes the survey? As I said, a paper version of the survey is mailed to every household, every property owner. And then people can do one of two things. They can either fill it out by hand and mail it back to our headquarters, which is a small home office in Slinger, or they can fill it out online with a alphanumeric code that allows each survey to be taken once and only once, and then they can fill it out online with a few clicks, and then that loads into our server, and we compile the results there. And then we combine the hand-entered paper results with the online results. What do the surveys look like? Everyone is different. No survey that we've ever written is exactly the same because we customize them to your school district. We customize them to your school colors, to your mascot, but more importantly, to your needs. What are the tax questions? What are the facility needs you're pondering? We put those architectural images in front of your community and get a reaction and see what they think. This next slide shows you the box that's on the front page of the survey. This is where we outline for them how they can take it, again, by mail or via the web link or a QR code. We make it as convenient as possible. We can also have it converted into one of 52 different languages. We write with Jesse, if you decide to go forward, an opening letter that would introduce the idea of the survey, what you're writing them about, what you're wondering, and you set the table for the answers that you're seeking. At the end of the survey, before they're done, they will answer a few questions. The survey is completely anonymous. Even our head programmer could not identify anyone who's taken the survey. They're all linked specifically just to that alphanumeric code. But we also do ask them their age and their township, city, or village so that we can disaggregate for you how people are feeling. We'll give you a 18 to 24-year-old summary and a 65 plus summary and everyone in between. Largely, the parents are in that 35 to 44-year-old range. And then we'll be able to break it out by municipality. Maybe a few of your municipalities aren't as crazy about the projects you're proposing because maybe they just had a tax increase because they're redoing the roads or something is going on. We'll be able to disaggregate all that information for you and tell you where you've got great support and where maybe you, members of the board, or Jesse need to hold a few more meetings to educate the people about what the needs are and answer questions that people aren't understanding. We also ask them, are they an employee or are they a parent? And we'll disaggregate it by those groups as well. And we'll also ask them how they would best like to receive the results. How do they like to hear from the school? Maybe the results can be shared via newsletter, maybe a school board meeting, or maybe just posting things on the website. Your taxpayers will tell you how they like to hear from you. The next several screens are just screenshots that show you the different types of ways that we present your information. Maybe if you're a district that's growing, we'll present a growth and enrollment chart showing that we're out of space and maybe need to add on for more capacity of the school. Maybe there's a tax decrease where now would be a good time that you could do some construction without taxes going up. These are several examples of the boxes of how we ask the questions. We try not to inundate the survey with dozens of questions. Quite honestly, we try to keep the questions down to a handful of key questions because we want a good response rate so we get a good reaction to the survey and get a lot of people to respond. Oftentimes we work hand in hand with architects where they'll take an architectural concept or image and put it out there to your community to help educate them, as I said in the beginning. The value of the survey is largely an educational tool to show the community what you're thinking before you put it on a ballot and put it to a vote. Again, examples of architectural images. Sometimes districts are consolidating, reconfiguring grade levels, so we have to put images in that depict what is taking place. And then we're always very, very transparent about the cost. We'll summarize the different projects being considered and show them exactly what it will mean to their tax rate, their property tax mill rate, and what that will mean based on the value of their home. Then we ask them for their support or how they would support it. One thing we don't do, we're not in the business of selling referendums. When I left Slinger to take this position, a few of my superintendent friends said, well, you're gonna go work for that company that sells referendums. No, that's not what we do. What we do is we educate about referendums independently, and we gather reactions to the ideas you're considering on your behalf so that you go into your planning knowing how your community feels. We'll even test tax tolerances. Maybe there's as much as $23 million being considered, and we'll test different thresholds of tax impact to see how much work can you do now based on the support, how much work should maybe be saved for later because right now it's just too expensive. And we've been doing a lot of that lately because of the inflation, gas prices, and the state of the economy. We're trying to find a nice in-between point where the buildings are not getting run down for districts, but also the taxpayers are not getting overly burdened as well. So again, as I said in the beginning, we've done this for over 900 districts in all 50 states, and we feel like we have a very highly predictive methodology that will help you get feedback on anything you're considering doing to your school. Time frames to keep in mind. Typically, we like to send out the surveys and get the results for you about 6 months in advance of the election you're thinking about. So if you were thinking about, for example, here's an example. If you're thinking about having a vote in April, we would want to draft a survey now. We'd want to compile results for you in October or November. And then you as a board will receive the results in December so that you can think about what your next steps are. If you feel like you've got a good plan that you'd like to put to a vote and you seem to have support, then you have to write that resolution by January 22nd so that you can get it on the April ballot. So that's who we are as School Perceptions, and I'd be glad to take any questions that you have for me at this time.
Anyone have any questions? Comments?
What have you seen from most of the surveys that you send out? Has it mostly been positive on all the surveys, or have some caught you by surprise?
Some have been very much by surprise. I would tell you that, for example, I just completed a project in North Dakota. Unlike Wisconsin and Minnesota, where we do most of our surveys, in North Dakota, you have to have a 60% vote support. That was something new to me. And we had a school that literally was just replacing boilers and chillers and roofs, and they still could not get support because they were so expensive right now. Inflation has materials sky high, boilers and chillers sky high. Even though these are fundamental needs for their school, it was very hard on the taxpayers because they're such a small community and so few homes were sharing in the expense of the capital project. So it wasn't that it was an item that wasn't valued, they just couldn't afford it because this was a school district of only 129 children, K through 12. So small that all their graduating class, every senior was on the front website of the homepage. So it was more than they could afford as taxpayers. So that's what I've been seeing. But I would also tell you, I've been shocked by other districts who are in very good financial shape, and they've asked, see, the nice thing about the survey, and this is why I learned in Slinger. Originally, when I was in Slinger, I wasn't necessarily crazy about the idea of sending out the survey because the school board and I kind of thought we knew our community. But we kept having a group of parents saying, we need a performing arts center, we need a performing arts center. Well, when we talked about the survey, we said, well, we can ask anything we want. We're not asking them to pass a referendum, we're asking them what they think of the idea of a performing arts center for band and choir. To our surprise, all the results came back saying, build it. If you'd have asked me in the dairy aisle of Piggly Wiggly, would we have built a performing arts center? I would have said no chance. But it showed that even though I thought I knew my community, I didn't know how 7,000 taxpayers truly felt about having a nice place for the band and choir to perform. And better yet, the feedback showed us that the concept we were thinking about with a balcony wasn't necessary. So we actually took a balcony off and made it stadium style, which saved us $1.5 million. And to this day now, the UW Badger Band came and performed in our Performing Arts Center. They said it's one of the nicest centers in the entire state. And we even shaved the balcony off and saved $1.5 million on the construction cost, saved taxpayers dollars and built a space we never thought we'd build. And it wouldn't have happened if we wouldn't have asked our people how they felt. So my point is, I'm seeing other districts ask the question just to see how people feel, and they're building these domed turf athletic facilities where kids, youth sports can take place year-round because there's just not enough gym space in some of these communities. Places like Plymouth, Wisconsin, and Rhinelander have these domed athletic facilities that seem luxurious, but because the community is so excited about these families' places to play sports, they're building some very nice things for their school based on the feedback that they get from the survey process. So I guess that's the thing that I'm seeing is I'm seeing some communities struggle to even keep their buildings together, and other districts building Taj Mahals and these wonderful athletic complexes and everything in between. The fastest growing area though, tech ed. Just about everyone is remodeling their tech ed, and I love that because we did that back in Slinger. Back in 2016, we passed a $43 million referendum, and to this day, as much as I'm proud of the Performing Arts Center, I'm more proud of the redoing of our woods and metals and CNC labs, making them modern, well-lit and clean to stimulate industry and to get more kids excited about going into the trades instead of everybody blindly running off to a four-year college. That's what I'm most proud of. And that all across the state, people are redoing their tech ed labs to try to fill that skilled labor gap that's out there. We need more electricians, we need more plumbers, we need more kids with trade skills. And that's what's taking place across the state. Athletics, not testing very well right now. Turf fields, additional field houses and gyms. The economy is tough, and so people are having to establish priorities, and Ty is going to the trades, to the academic areas, and less or so athletics right now with rates being high, bonds being expensive, things of that nature. And people are establishing priorities, and that's really what I view our role is. Our role is to help you establish what your community's priorities are for the school. What will they invest in, and what would they rather wait with for another time, or maybe never do. Great question though, thank you.
Anyone else?
I think if I can just add, as a district, we've passed referendums overwhelmingly. We've had great support, I think, from community. However, we're in a different world right now than what we were when we were doing referendums years ago. And so I think that community input is really going to be valuable in making a decision on how we want to move forward. Whether April is the right time for us or not, and then specifically a dollar amount, and then what kind of projects. What I'm seeing right now with the community advisory sign up is a lot of parents are interested in signing up. However, we're missing that population of retired folks in the community signing up. And that's a big push I'm trying to get out there right now. And so this survey will encompass some of that, hopefully, I think, that we are not going to be able to capture with the advisory committee. And just a plug too, if anyone is interested in joining the community advisory committee, we are taking applications or names until September 5th. There are 4 dates out there for when we will be meeting, but you can sign up by calling our business office to put your name on that list.
How many people?
Jesse, the point you made about the senior citizen age group, that is where when we disaggregate your results, typically, they're the second most populated group. That 35 to 44-year-old, the parents, number one typically, maybe the 44 to 50-year-old, right behind are those 65 plus that are on a fixed income, and they vote. And so we'll really be able to break out for you their reaction to whatever questions you want to ask about your facilities and see how they feel. And that's a very important population to honor because of, they're retired, they're on a fixed income, and they're a big influence at the polls because they vote every time. Those 18 to 24-year-olds, they don't respond to our surveys, and they don't vote largely because they're just trying to figure out life and they're traveling around just trying to find themselves. But those parent populations and those older populations, we will be the voice on how they feel for you.
We have 22 so far signed up.
Okay, and you want 65 to 70?
We're looking about 50 to 70. So, about halfway there. Any other questions for Darren? All right, Darren, thank you very much.
Thank you, it's my pleasure. We'll be in touch. Just let me know what you decide in the morning and we'll decide if there are any next steps that we need to take, okay? And my best to you as a school board is whatever you decide. So have a great night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you have anything else, Jesse?
I do have a couple other things. Let me just get this going here. So, jump into our budget update for the month of, July we're looking at. Three takeaways for tonight's meeting that I'd like to share. One is look at the budget. I'll do a transportation department update and then just kind of recap our staff in service that we had today. So, in front of you is our monthly budget summary. Again, very rough because we just started a new fiscal period in July, so we are not getting a whole lot of revenue coming in right now, and obviously not a lot of expenditures as well. So remember, when you're looking at the revenue, a negative is actually positive. So for our Fund 10, or general operating, we've collected about 0.18% of our total expected revenue, and we spent about 5.11% of our projected expenditures. So those numbers will obviously increase as the year goes on, but there aren't a lot of revenues to be collected at this point over the summer. But we are still paying out salaries and monthly bills and things, so that's why you see a difference in the revenues versus the expenditures. For special education, or Fund 27, we've collected 0% of our expected revenue, and we spent about 1.63% of our expenditures. For food service, again, 0%. We aren't serving any meals, so there's no income coming in from the meals, but we have done some work in the kitchen over the summer. We purchased 3 new milk coolers. We purchased a new refrigerator for the kitchen at the elementary school. We purchased a steamer, I believe, at the middle school, high school, and installed some new cabinets here up at the middle school and high school. They're stainless steel. That money was used from that fund balance that we had for Fund 50 for food service. Remember, a couple months ago, I presented out and said our fund balance is a little higher than what DPI would like, and they are asking us to spend that money down, and so that's where that cost came from. For our community service Fund 80, we've collected about 2.63% of our expected revenue and have spent about 2.26% of our expenditures. We do have Wolf Den running over the summer. So, update on transportation. Any questions about the budget, preliminary budget? All right, transportation update. An email was sent out to all families in the district that are interested in signing up for bus services. It was a Google form that they had to fill out. It's the same form we've used year after year. So far we have 145 students signed up to ride our school buses. And I'm happy to share out new this year. We have a city route that was added this year. We'll have 5 pickup and drop off spots, or hubs that we're calling, where students will walk to that area, catch the bus, and then be on their way to school. So far, we have 40 students signed up for that route, so that's really exciting. So, again, we're able to do this because of the new bus that we just purchased that came in a few weeks ago in August here, using our ESSER funds for that.
So
And then-
Jesse, the 145 plus the 40?
Nope, 145 total.
Okay.
And there are a few that have not signed up yet. I was talking with Tracy today. She is starting to make those calls to families that she knows that would normally take busing that just haven't signed up yet. So. To recap our in-service today, we had a very exciting first day back with our staff. A lot of information was presented, but overall it was very good. And the morning was filled with some department updates, all our required trainings that we need to do annually. We had lunch served by Moe's. We had some taco bar, which was delicious. So a big thank you to their business for being accommodating and providing the lunch. We had a presentation on trauma-sensitive care from Marcy Kuhn, who is a CISA 7 employee that will be working with our schools throughout the year, kind of ongoing on this. And then we did a wonderful community scavenger hunt at local businesses in the afternoon with the help of Sandy Hager, who is one of our third grade teachers. She's volunteered with the chamber this summer. She was able to get us in touch with about 13 to 14 businesses within the city, where our staff broke up into groups of 4 to 6. They traveled, walked around the city to the businesses and had pictures or things that they need to look for in their businesses. The business owners that I spoke to were very grateful for this because it got our staff into their businesses, able to promote it. Last year we did something very similar, but we focused on some larger businesses. This year we wanted to look at more smaller local businesses. So, and the weather was perfect for the occasion. So. Any questions for me?
It was a really good program,
Thank you.
a lot of information.
It was a team effort with our whole administrative team putting it together, so.
You did a good job, guys.
I am complete.
Okay. Elementary school.
All right, just a few quick back-to-school updates. First, I wanted to share out our elementary school open house times. They've kind of spread out across the week this year. So I just want to read through the dates and times of those, just so everybody has those. Our Little Stars program has open house on 2 different nights, so Tuesday and Thursday this week. So Tuesday the 29th and Thursday the 31st from 3 to 6 p.m. Those are our 3-year-olds, so we try to break that group in half by last name, just so that there's fewer families coming at once, so that the teachers can meet the students in a more intimate setting. Families are aware of when they need to come by last name. 4K and kindergarten open house will take place on Wednesday this week, which is the 30th from 3 to 6 p.m. For both of those grade levels, those are scheduled individually with the classroom teacher. That was something that we moved to a couple of years ago, and again, that just gives the teacher and the parents and the student the chance to have that one-on-one first connection of the school year. It can be a lot when you have all those kids and all those families and all those siblings running around, so the teachers really enjoy just having that one-on-one time with each individual family, just to kick off the school year, get to know the students, get to know the family, and not feel rushed through that. So that's Wednesday. Grades 1 through 4 will take place during our typical open house time, which will be on Thursday from 3 to 6. That's just drop in as usual. Students can drop off their supplies, meet their teachers. Specialist teachers will be there, specialists will be there to meet and greet the students as well. And then 5th and 6th grade this year, just due to some conflicts with some of our staff members, is also going to be held tomorrow on Thursday the 29th from 3 to 6. Again, just pop in, drop off your stuff, meet your teachers, just the chance for all the students to do that. So there's quite a few this year, but we had a couple different situations that came up, so we just wanted to accommodate as much as we could. rest of the week, it was really great, like Jesse mentioned, to welcome everybody back to the school year today, and today's always our district day. As far as the elementary school goes for the rest of the week, we are gonna meet as an all-staff on Wednesday, where we kind of do a run-through, go over kind of just the nuts and bolts of the school year. We have some personal leadership conversation taking place that afternoon. And then on Thursday, we have some literacy work planned for the morning, where we're specifically gonna be talking about Act 20, that Science of Reading Act that we've kind of been talking about, and just kind of what that means for this school year, next school year, and beyond. Jesse and I had the chance to listen in on a Q&A session that CISA 7 put on about Act 20. There's a lot up in the air, but we also want to make sure that we're preparing for some of those things that are coming, and we want to make sure that our teachers are prepared for some of that too. So we'll be doing that. And then back to school updates, an email was sent out from the elementary school last week, just with, again, some very general back to school information, school start times, end times, arrival, dismissal procedures. We're excited to announce that breakfast will once again be served in the cafeteria instead of a grab and go bag style breakfast. So we're gonna be opening up the doors at 7:35 for our students. The students that are not getting breakfast will be able to enter at 7:45, so that's a slight adjustment in our times, but we're hoping that that is something that is a positive. We also, as Jesse talked about, are very excited from an elementary perspective to have those city routes. That's always something that is a little trickier for our younger students, especially if they have older siblings that have to be up at this building, and then they're unsupervised at the elementary school. So we're just really looking forward to having that as an option for our students. Also, please mark your calendars for Picture Day, which is scheduled for September 13th. We won't have another school board meeting prior to that, so I wanted to make sure that gets out. And then the last thing I wanted to mention is within that document that was shared, there was one piece of information that I just want to clarify. Right outside the front entrance of the elementary school, we did put in that drop-off lane, which we had for the last couple of years been using as a drop-off lane. We, as a district, have decided that we are gonna make that handicap accessible only. We're not gonna use that as a drop-off lane. In the material that was sent out, it did state that the city had decided that, but it's actually the district. So I did go in and change that, but I just wanted to make sure and clarify that with you, that that was something that the school district pursued first. So other than that, we're ready to welcome everybody back. It's exciting.
Any questions of her? Good. You'll have fun
Right.
this year.
The drop-off lane, you changed it, were there some issues with that drop-off lane?
Yeah, it just was always congested. So you had parents that would park and get out, you'd have parents that wouldn't pull ahead. It just, I think the idea was great, in theory it was great, but it just caused a lot of conflict in the mornings between staff and parents and other parents, and wasn't as smooth as we had intended it to be.
It was a good idea, but it
Yeah.
didn't
Yeah.
pan out.
And and most of our younger students that are using that door specifically are 4K and kindergarten, so a lot of times the parents would get out with those students anyways, so just logistically it wasn't working.
What we saw was a lot of our families would park there very early for pickup, and then it would get very congested, and we would have students kind of running in between the cars to cross the street rather than at the crosswalk, because the parents would wave them across to come, and so it was very unsafe situation. So I worked very closely with the city, with Casey, and with the new police chief, Dave Allen, on this. It is enforceable, Dave said, from the police standpoint, and the city is supporting it as well. And we do not actually have handicap parking in any of our elementary spots.
I think there's one by the back door, maybe by the little
Yeah,
stairs,
that
and that's
is-
about it.
So
Yeah.
there is a need for it too,
Okay.
because we do have a lot of grandparents that will pick up and stuff or drop off in the morning, so.
I knew there was a reason, I just wondered if anybody's listening, that we just didn't do that on a whim, but there is a reason for that.
Mhm.
Okay, Mr. Robertson.
Yes, so we have been welcoming students back into our building. We had our 7th and 9th grade orientation just earlier this week. Just a note on that, we'll probably be changing that, going away from 7th and 9th grade and just doing 7th and new students. Because the 9th graders have been here for the large part for the last couple of years and it seems a little redundant. But I did get some feedback that we need to advertise that better, so I'll do a better job of that in the future. Teachers have been coming in and out sort of on their own, but today, of course, we have had them back officially, and it was wonderful to see them all. The energy is palpable, which is awesome. As for our open house, that will be this Thursday from 4 to 7 p.m. Teachers will be here. We welcome parents, students, anybody who wants to come into the building, drop off gear, get their locker. Lockers tend to be perennially challenging for many students, so they can come practice that and get schedules if they don't have them already, things like that. So that will be this Thursday, the 31st, from 4 to 7 p.m. And we are beyond excited to see some of the students come back into the building. It's kind of boring here without kids. Then I just want to talk a little bit about some of the students that we are going to have this year. It was interesting listening to Barb Rogers go over the board goals, specifically talking about World Connections, and we are making some this year. We've got 2 foreign exchange students, both coming from Germany. We have a family that has joined us from Russia, who will be joining our school district. We have students from Oklahoma, from Puerto Rico, so it's kind of fun. Also challenging. I'm learning how to use Google Translate. Never done that before, so that's kind of fun. We have kids that are coming back to the district who had open enrolled for whatever reasons in the past, which is kind of nice to see. A lot of them have siblings that have been attending here, so it's good to see them coming back. We have a student that's open enrolling out of another district to attend to AVA, which is pretty exciting. So I think I'm going to stop there. I don't want to get into too much detail because I don't want to give out people's information. But it's really fun to see the sort of the variety of students that are coming into the district. One of the young people that are coming has a connection to sort of an Algoma legend. I'll just leave it there. If you want to know more, I'll tell you more later. With that, just the open enrollment numbers right now, actually there are 34 out and there's 24 in. But of course that can change. Yeah, everything can change in the next few weeks. We'll know by that, hopefully by that second Friday count on where we're actually at officially. But that's kind of where we're at right now.
Good. Any comments or questions? Okay. Hi, Katie.
Yes, I'm just gonna kind of combine mine. I just wanted to kind of report on the difference between Pathfinder and ABA. So, a lot of the staff, a lot of the community members kind of mesh those two buildings together in those two programs. And it's confusing for some folks and sometimes it causes some riff. So I just wanna go over kind of like the distinct differences between Pathfinder and ABA and then kind of how they're similar. So, Pathfinder is our off-site alternate education classroom, I guess, more of an off-site classroom. It's not really a separate school, but the main difference between the two is at Pathfinder, it's an internal decision on who can go there. So it's not like you apply to go there. It's, you know, based on teachers will reach out and be like, hey, I think this student would be a good fit for Pathfinder, or Mr. Robertson would say, you know, I have this student in my office quite a bit, you know, something's going on, maybe it would be a better fit for Pathfinder. So that's the big thing on Pathfinder. It's an internal decision. It's not a, you know, separate school. You don't apply to it. It's just more of a team decision on who attends there. Pathfinder is more credit recovery based. A lot of the work there is book and packet work for our students. And it's one teacher overseeing the program and consulting with other teachers in the middle school, high school as needed. ABA is on-site. Anyone can apply. So it's a public charter school. We've had, 2 students open enrolling from other districts. It is application-based, but anybody can apply to go there. It's project-based rather than credit recovery-based. We work with a lot of our community partners, and there are multiple teachers in ABA covering the different core subjects. And then just some of the similarities between them both. They're both alternate pathways for our students, so our students have multiple ways that they can learn in our building. They have a lot of choice in how they want to choose to learn. Both of them have personal learning plans and goals, so each student basically has their own, almost like their own IEP, for lack of better terms, with their own goals and their own plans for the year. And both buildings are required to still take the state test, so all of our students, just like all the students in the district, they take the board exam, they take the ACT. But I think just the big takeaway is on who attends and where is the internal decision versus that anyone can apply between the two schools. Pathfinder has 8 students starting the year. Usually they end with quite a few more, but that's who's starting this year, and ABA has 41 students to start the year this year. Are there any questions that you have that I can help clarify more?
Maybe you or maybe Jesse can maybe get into more, maybe the financial part of the difference between Pathfinder and the ABA financially, because, you know, Pathfinder is part of the district, and really ABA is kind of on their own.
Kind of. So, yes, Pathfinder is a part of the district, so the funding all comes from the district for Pathfinder. ABA is kind of split, so the teachers are part of our district, so the district pays for the staff in ABA. But most of the stuff in ABA is grant funded, so we got a grant, a 5-year, well, it's now down to a 4-year grant, when ABA opened, to purchase most of the things you'll see in ABA, so the furniture, all the student materials for projects, most of the stuff that you can actually see, and the materials that the kids need for their projects is grant funded, so it's kind of a twofold for ABA.
There's some pretty strict requirements for the grant on what you can use the money for. And we have to do monthly reporting out on how that money is being spent. That goes to the governance board for approval each month for the charter school. ABA has its own governance board, so it's very similar to what we have here as a school board. It's got a board that they make decisions based off of what's recommended. And so we cannot use the grant funds for any staffing. We can use it for community partnerships, and that's something that we are exploring more of this year to get our kids working with people out in the community and doing some collaboration with that. So,
Is there a limit of what classes can be taught in the ABA? Or is it like a broad spectrum of?
It's really broad, so we have a science teacher, we have an English teacher, we have a social studies teacher. We are also partnering with RVA, Rural Virtual Academy, just like the district is this year, to use the virtual content and their virtual teachers. So there is a huge spectrum of stuff that RVA is allowing us to use. So I feel like the possibilities are really endless now that we have that partnership. But like, obviously, we have 3 teachers and 41 students, and it's 7 through 12. So what they can teach in, 7 hours a day is pretty limited. But now that we have the partnership with RVA, it's a whole spectrum of things.
Any other comments or questions? What about
Pack of pups. We are welcoming Mr. Matt Shaper as one of our staff members. He jumped ship from an elementary para to be one of our teachers at the child care. So he'll be our 1-year-old room teacher. He was on vacation last week, so started back today. So that's really positive. We're just looking for one more part-time kind of floor person, but we're packed, so.
Are we at capacity?
Yeah.
We are. Infants too, or?
Infants, we have 2 of them that are turning 1, one that just turned 1, and one that is turning 1 in 2 weeks, so we'll have 1 spot open. But that's supposed to be filled come November. So
What do you have for total then? That's there.
you can have 36 kids.
36?
total, so.
Are they all local kids, or is people
We have, one family from Kiwanee, we have one family from Luxembourg Casco, and a couple from Sturgeon Bay, because I don't think their big childcare center is open yet. So we do have families that drive in from Sturgeon Bay every day to drop their kids off.
Yeah.
And one of those students actually is turning 3. Is going to be part of our Little Star, so they are choicing in to the district from Sturgeon Bay.
Any other comments or questions? Thanks, Katie. And now Marie.
Whitney Ebert was planning to be here tonight and she was not able to make it, so we're gonna put her Algoma Community Wellness Center usage report on hold until next month, so I apologize for that. Just a quick update on our staffing situation for special education. As Kane mentioned, one of our paraprofessionals is now helping out with childcare, which is awesome. But then we had another vacancy for special education paras. We've hired 3. Shannon Sperber will be at the elementary school. Janie Hanna will be at the elementary school, and Jessica Durst will be at the middle school and high school. So that's exciting to welcome them. And then also Chris Tarver as the new middle school, high school special ed teacher. We do have one special ed teacher at the elementary school on maternity leave that we are still looking to fill. So if you know anybody that's interested in a long-term special ed position, we are urgently looking for someone to fill that. That's pretty much it for the special education staffing right now. Then I just wanted to put in a quick update or plug for our health and wellness committee. We have both a vision and a mission to just really set the standards for building healthy habits within our workplace and our community. I feel like today's scavenger hunt was a perfect example of that. We had our whole district out and about walking, socializing, getting into businesses. So we were working on a whole bunch of different areas of well-being by getting up and moving around, but also spending time to get to know one another and getting our feet into the local businesses. So felt like that was a really awesome event for our staff. The wellness committee focuses on 4 main domains: physical well-being, emotional well-being, social well-being, and financial well-being. So we meet monthly and we try and come up with different activities and offerings for our staff, spouses, students, and community. Any questions on that?
Any comments or questions of Marie? Thank you. Okay, committee reports. Pat.
The referendum subcommittee met on 8/10. We defined our roles, and the roles for the board members on that is basically be a liaison between the regular board and the subcommittee. And then we also looked at prioritizing our needs, and then what kind of committee representation we wanted to get for this referendum. So pretty much what we did.
Thank you. Any additions?
I wasn't there, so.
No, okay.
Did I get it, Lonnie? Okay.
Right on the head.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, where are we? Has other items for discussion?
The fall regional meeting? That's on here.
Yep, the only one is the fall regional meeting for WASB is coming up in October, I believe.
25th?
Is it October 25th or
I thought it was late, I thought.
yeah, we were one of the later ones in Green Bay, I think, so.
Do you know when that has to be in by? You're going?
Believe it is, I'll look it up.
But I mean, we have time for at the September meeting to say, yeah.
I believe so, yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
So this is just a think about it?
I guess so. Okay. All right, action items. Approval of the regular board meeting minutes of July 24th and special school board meeting minutes of August 7th and August 8th. And I have a motion to approve those.
I'll make the motion.
All right, Lonnie?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries, okay. Presentation and approval of the bills. You have those in your packet,
I'll move.
all right? Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Approve the Pan of Gold bread bid.
So move.
I'll second.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Approve the private school transportation or parent contract.
So move.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Approve the Kiwanee School District 2023-24 school year employment compensation agreement for speech and language pathologist services.
I'll move.
I'll second it.
Okay, all those in favor
Well,
say
I just wanna say,
Oh, go ahead.
past history, do you know how hard it was for us to find a speech pathologist in this district?
Yes.
We struggled for that for years. And so now to have 3 is almost, like a gift. And I just gotta thank Amy Kosher for finding her passion and running with it, because it couldn't have been easy, raising a family and getting her degree, so kudos to her.
And working at the same time.
And working at the same time, so kudos to her. This is like unheard of.
We are so grateful,
Yeah.
so grateful.
Now, was there a motion or a second?
Yep, there was.
Yes.
Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, approve the school receptions contract not to exceed $9,100.
I'll move.
All right, is there a second?
I'll second it.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Approve the finance manager job description.
So move.
Second.
Lonnie?
Yep.
You okay?
All those in favor?
Aye.
signify by saying aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Approve Wednesday, November 8th, 2023 Veterans Day concert and Wednesday, May 15th, 2024 high school spring concert.
I'll move.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Are there any requests for a future agenda items? All right, then, I need a motion to move into executive session. Under Wisconsin statute 19.85(1)(c), (e), (f), and I, for the purpose of personal matters, hires, staffing, and resignations.
So move.
Second.
All right, and this is a roll call vote. Lonnie?
Yes.
Yes.
And I say yes.
Yes.